Off the Record. I'm your host, Nick.
It's good to be seen, and it's good to see you.
Off the Record.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for telling a friend.
True Crime Podcast. Be good, be kind, and don't little. Gather around, grab a chair, grab a beer. Let's talk some true crime.
Welcome and schmelcome and all that good stuff. Off the Record OTR. Cause you nasty.
If you're nasty.
Cause you nasty. You so nasty.
Or if you're nasty.
We're recording this the day after I went to Pete Rose night at the Cincinnati Reds baseball game. So they did sadly, Pete Rose passed away at the end of last year, and they did a night to just a full-blown awesome tribute night to Pete Rose. Everybody was wearing Pete Rose jerseys. There was one thing that was really cool on the Jumbotron. They kept showing like old TV commercials that he did for like Wheaties and Aqua Velva and a few different brands. And that was really cool. Plus there were some of my, probably our, childhood heroes and some from the baseball diamond anyway. Barry Larkin was there. Eric Davis was there. Ken Griffey Sr. was there. So that was, and they were talking on mic to the crowd about Pete Rose and experiences they had, whether playing with him or playing for him, because he was a manager and he was and remains the hit king, right? He is the all-time hits leader for Major League Baseball. I believe that the record is 4,000. So when he broke the record, I think he broke the record. It was 4,126 hits. Now, they do play 163 games, I believe, a year. 163 games in a regular season. So some people may say, well, 4,000 hits does not sound like a lot when you play that many games. And we do know that baseball is not as strenuous or as dangerous as some of the other sports. So a lot of times those guys can have lengthy careers. But to put it into perspective, he did that in 1985. So he still holds that record still to this day. So I liken it to, remember Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had the points. He was the points leader, all-time points leader
for
in
a
the
long
NBA.
time.
Until LeBron James broke it, 3 years ago, I think?
He broke it last year.
Yeah. And so, I mean, think of all the guys that have come and gone in that sport and have not been able to beat the points leader for all those years. Michael Jordan didn't do it. Karl Malone didn't do it.
Well, you got to have the longevity. Yeah.
And so.
And do you know how many 3-pointers that Kareem made in his career?
I do not. I don't think he didn't shoot very many of them. I know that.
I think he only made one.
Ooh. But nobody could block the sky hook. Nobody could block the sky hook. So when all was said and done, for the lifetime of his career, he batted .303. He had a batting average of 303, which is incredible career batting average. Finished with 4,256 hits. Famously born April 14th. The tribute night was May 14th because they didn't have any baseball. They didn't have a home game April 14th here in Cincinnati. So they did it in May 14th, and the number 14 will forever be Pete Rose's number in my mind. Now, did you see that they just yesterday removed him? So people outside of Ohio probably won't know of these conversations unless you're like a baseball diehard. But in the state of Ohio, if you bring up his name, people have always said, and I imagine these are people that want him to be in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose is not allowed in the Hall of Fame because he was caught betting on baseball. And his defense always was that I only bet for my team to win. And of course, I'm out there playing and coaching to win. So what is wrong with that? Now, I will say this. I push back a little bit when people say, well, he only bet on the Reds to win. And I always push back and go, well, it gets a little dicey to sort that out, right? It gets little.
We don't know that for certain.
We weren't there when he placed every bet. Now, I because I like Pete Rose, I would like to see him in the Hall of Fame, but